Get it right. Let's get it right. Let's get to let's get to chopping this fable, man. Let's get to chopping it up, bro. First of all, let me get my bag. Guess who's back? Still smell all upon my clothes, up on me robes, upon me garbs, upon me cloths, upon me wares. It's your boy S.J. Screwface John, Fizza, Scru, SF, whatever you want to call me, just don't call me collect. So, start this video off with some, with all the positivity I could start it with. First of all, thank you to everybody who's been watching my videos. You know what I mean? I've gained a lot of subscribers since the Kamikaze reviews. Shout out to the fact that my ringer reaction is hit 100K. My first video to ever hit 100,000 views. First reaction. That's crazy, bro. It's crazy, bro. I've almost gained I think I've gained over 1,000 subs. I think I have. And then what's the most important thing to me, besides, hold on, I gotta take the trash out, hold up. My bad, y'all. Anyway, back. So the biggest shout out goes to everybody who's been watching my screwed up of the ringer. It's got like 6,000 views in one day. Comments are out this world. It's like people are starting to realize, like, oh boy, this dude's a spitter. I mean, y'all are. A lot of people already knew, but we still getting to know each other as a family. So, yeah, as you know, I'm going to be remixing, I think, the Not Alike beat today, but I had to do this, man. So Joe Budden responded to Eminem, and this might be a little rant. I got the little video here. We're going to play it, and we're going to react to it, but I am a fan of Joe Budden. I consume, I would say 90% of content. I would probably say 95% of content Joe puts out, whether it be when he was in Everyday Struggle, I was watching it. I've watched every episode of his podcast. I'll be watching his podcast over and over again until he uploads a new one. So I'm not a hater at all. I love Joe Budden's content. As a person, he's kind of a douche sometimes, but his content is great. He has a good take sometimes. So here's my issue. I knew exactly once Eminem dissed Joe, this was Joe was going to tuck and run. I knew he was going to do that. And in the back of my head, I was like, Joe, please don't do this. Please don't do this. Because Joe is a different kind of commentator in hip-hop. He's a very passionate, he can get very personal, and he claims that, like, hip-hop and the music is what he's there for at the end of the day. And the worst part is I've seen him comment to other rappers for not dissing people back, for not getting in the booth and rapping when people talk about him. I've seen him diss rappers for that before. I've seen him diss the fact that everything's so kumbaya nowadays and all of that stuff. I've seen him. I've seen him be like, oh, I'm with all the F-ish. Nah, you don't seem to be. You seem to be. And I might take this a little further than, go a little deeper than most people go with this. Here's my first point. As somebody who watches Joe Budden and knows Joe Budden's character, I'm kind of getting sick of him being punked in public. I just kind of am. I just kind of am. And if somehow this makes it to Joe Budden, I'm just saying, like, it's not, I'm not calling you a punk necessarily, but it seems like you're very, it's convenient with the people that you snap on comparative to the people who snap on you and you don't do anything back. And I don't claim to say that anytime anybody says anything about you, you're supposed to attack, but with how much you attack people who really are just doing something you don't like in music, with how passionate and how mean and how hurtful you can get, calling people trash, garbage, throw it away, put it in rice, with all of that, you would think that same person would have the wherewithal to understand that if I'm ever in the position where I'm attacked, it's gonna look really weird if I don't say anything back. Now, I could sit here and be like, oh, I'm a different person. Therapy. Nah, but you can't also then, like, be as passionate to Lil Yachty as you were. I know you could be like, well, I just wanted to make sure. No. A passionate person don't be passionate all the time. So if Taxstone comes to you, or you go to Taxstone's podcast, and he's challenging your masculinity, challenging your manhood right there. And I know you might see like, oh, I didn't see it as a challenge of masculinity. That's what he was doing. That's exactly what he was doing. I promise you, Taxstone was doing that, to challenge you as a person to see that you was a punk or not. You didn't do anything. You got up there, walked out, which is a smart thing to do, because Taxstone's a real goon, and you probably would have got your head bust. But then there's the consequence slap. And I know that you came on Hot 97 and confronted him, but it's just, it looks weird. It'd be different. Okay, if this all happened to DJ Academics, it wouldn't look as weird. I wouldn't be expecting as much. But you, with the Migos walkout, I'm sorry, this has been a way too long of an intro. I'm probably going to go ahead and let me just start this 2-minute clip, because this is going to help my rant. This isn't really an intro. This is just, we're going to listen to this and react to it, and then I'm going to get back into my bag. Here's Eminem. Here's Joe Budden responding back to why he's not going to diss Eminem, or why he's not going to respond, which we all knew he wasn't. But ready, set, go.
To prove to people that I'm a great rapper.
Okay.
You know what's funny about that whole prove you're a great rapper thing?
Okay.
And therapy helped me with this.
Stop right there. Joe, stop. Just quit, bro. Just quit, bro. I knew that therapy angle was coming before. Like, as soon as M said his name, I knew exactly how Joe was going to react to this. I knew Joe wasn't going to say anything. Even though he said there's one person that he'll come out of retirement for. If it's not Eminem, whoever that other person is, you're a weirdo for coming out of retirement for him and not Eminem. You're an actual weirdo. And then, I don't know, I didn't write anything down. I'm just thinking this as I go. Stop doing this therapy angle, bro. Just stop. I know that therapy is important and people go through stuff and maybe people don't understand what they're going through. Some people don't care, or not, like, I know that the way you're going to take it is, well, the therapy of it. Stop, bro. Just say, well, I learned in therapy to be careful for things with no end. Really? Now this is something with no end? This is something with no end. So why do you ever say anybody should ever respond to anybody? Why are you so adamant about hip-hop diss tracks? Why did you spend 2 to 3 episodes talking about the Pusha T and Drake diss tracks? Why did you say that there was a way that Pusha T was the first one to find a way to actually hurt Drake by talking about women? By making the women turn on him with the sun thing. Wouldn't that contradict what you just said there if there's no winning? Or are you saying there's no winning because you can't beat M? Or you, no matter what you say, people are going to look at it like you didn't win. If you're in that position of your life, right, and this is just me hot taking, I think you're almost like, I think you might be worse off than you were before. Because saying, I don't want to attack this person because there's no end, means you've kind of forgotten what hip hop is. You could claim that you didn't, but you kind of have. There's no point to a lot of this, but there is a point. Here's what I'm saying. It's like, this is what I always say about hip hop. Have you guys ever seen Polar Express? If you've ever seen Polar Express, right? I think that's the movie where they go to the North Pole and they meet Santa Claus and they get a bell and they hear it. And then once they get old, they can't hear the bell anymore. I think that's what happens in hip hop. I think once you get a certain age, you stop hearing the bell and it stops making sense to you. Because Joe, there is an end, all right? There is an end to this. There is a reason to, as a hip hop person, and it's, you know what's worse? As a commentary person who was a rapper, it almost makes it worse because the style in which you commentate, every time you have a negative opinion about somebody not standing up for themselves or attacking back or putting it on wax, I'm gonna have to look at you with the meanest side eye, like. It actually hurts your business in a way because you're a commentator. You know what it would be like? It would be like, have you ever, I know you watch battle rap, right? You know when Tech went and battled Geechee Gotti and lost horribly. So it made his whole, like, wait a minute, if that's the stuff you think is hot, then how can you critique on other people what is hot when clearly that's not what the majority of people think is hot? So with you, it's like, if you have such hot takes about hip-hop beef and what this generation should be doing and how back in my day it was, and then you're not gonna, I'm sorry, that was a lot. Ready, set, go.
You gotta be real careful with playing games that never garner results.
Stop. That's a cop-out if I've ever heard it.
M is one of the best rappers in the world, arguably.
Facts.
One of the best rappers ever, right?
Facts.
Right this second, he's trying to prove to people that he can rap. Like, the great rappers are gonna always be in a position where they have to prove they're trying to rap.
Let me hear
The
more
niggas
before I
that make
pause,
hits
too.
are gonna always be, you can put out 30 hits in a row. The second that you don't have a hit, the second you don't produce one, I'm preaching right now. I gotta save this for the podcast.
Let me stop right there. So, what did you ultimately say by that? I know what you're trying to say. What you're trying to say is that see, I'm trying not to, I'm keeping this regular. It's just, I don't care that much. So, what you're trying to say is that M is known to be one of the greatest rappers that's touched the mic. We should leave it at that, right? And right now, since he dropped Revival and the majority of people hated it, he's trying to come back and show people that he can rap. So, with how heavily you critiqued Revival, you don't think, like, see, here's the problem with people. People be so in their head that they think that the way that they look at stuff is the way everybody else is looking at it. Listen, it's not like, yeah, that's what lyricists do. That's what the game of being a lyricist is. That's what the game of, then when you brought up the other example of people who do hits, it's the second they don't have a hit, they got to prove they can make hits. Yeah, that's about right. I don't know what point you're trying to make there, but that's about right. That's how everything works. The second that LeBron doesn't get a ring, he's got to prove to us he can get a ring again. Like, I'm confused. The second that Tiger Woods doesn't win a PGA tournament and he's been winning 13, you got to question it. The second that Drake falls out from number one and he's been number one for 5 years, you got to make sure you can do it again. What is life? What is art? What is a craft that somebody who's showing that they could do something, stop showing you they could do that, and then you don't think people are going to say, hey, can you still do this? Especially since it's been a time. And with the M thing, it's not just one album. It's not just one album. Since the R albums, people have been saying, I didn't even mean for this to be this long. It's going to be like a 20-minute video. Since the R albums, people have been saying he's lost it. So yeah, he had to come back and rap. And he dissed you on the Chloroseptic remix. I think he really genuinely doesn't like you. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I don't think M genuinely likes you. And I think that you're trying to make it more than what it is. I think you're trying to be like, oh, he's just trying to show he can rap. No, Well, yes, he's trying to show he can rap, but I think he also doesn't like you. I just think he also doesn't like you. I think that's why he chose your name and the list of people's names that he chose. He literally talked about your domestic abuse case. Talked about your domestic abuse case. I don't think it's really more about, because your diss wasn't super lyrical, spiritual, swimming pool. It was just like a smack URL battle, like bang, last hit you had was with a bang, wow, that hit you right. He put blood in your mouth. All this extra. See, this is what people do when like they be like doing psychology and they think they're like super enlightened and stuff. What they do is they try to act like there aren't certain things that are just what they are. They're just what they are. People are like, well, no, there's a secret meaning to it. This is my Joe impression. Well, no, there's a secret meaning to it. So if you, yeah, he's trying to show people he can rap by attacking the people he doesn't like. That's kind of Eminem's MO. Was he not trying to show us he could rap in Marshall Mathers LP? Was he not trying to show us he could rap in Slim Shady EP? Was he not trying to show us he could rap in the Eminem show? What is that point? Yeah, as a lyricist, you have to keep showing you can do it. That's the challenge, the fun. So what? So what is the alternative? That we just pretend that no matter what we give, we just accept as, oh, well, yeah, he still did this. No, that's not how people become great. That's not how people stay great. Sorry, ready, set, go. All right. I'm in my bag, I'm sorry.
Instagram is kicking me off of here in 1 minute and 30 seconds. That's 90 seconds total anyway.
All right.
Yeah, so what's gonna happen? Look at Lyric.
Let me hear it.
You, man. Don't give away the content. That's what Spotify's saying.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna save this for the podcast. This is gonna be a really, really, really good podcast.
All right.
It's gonna be a really,
I'm
really,
gonna watch
really,
it, Joe.
really good State of the Culture show this week. I got a lot of points to get out.
I don't know about Joe having those two shows. Why would I watch both?
A lot of different opinions.
I'm gonna definitely watch the podcast. I don't know about State of the Culture.
And I'm sure Remy does too.
Why would I need to hear your take twice about the same thing?
Yeah, fuck them. Motherfuckers.
See, I don't understand that State of the Culture. Shout out for him
if
to get me.
If anybody wanted Joe to respond to them in a rap, all they had to do was say Joe's name 2 years ago.
He didn't have problems with you like 2 years ago.
4 years ago, 5 years ago, 6 years ago. Like, don't do it now.
Hold on. That's another cop-out he always uses. I'm retired. So that means you can't have an opinion on me now. Joe, listen. Stop it. You know what this sounds like? Every time Tekashi 6ix9ine talks about he's a kid, so therefore we should like forgive everything he does because he's a kid. Meanwhile, he's like 22 years old. That's the same thing you're doing. Your plea bag is kind of deep. Your plea bag is kind of deep. I'm retired. Joe, you're not. Joe, you're way smarter than that statement. I know that you're kind of like under pressure maybe, and I know you're going to be like, I'm not under pressure. Yeah, you are. And I know you got to think of what to say, but that was not the angle. That's, what? Yeah, I mean, so your logic is, the only time you could have ever spoke about me was 6 years ago, when I wasn't as popular or I wasn't giving as many negative and positive opinions on other people's stuff. Joe, yeah, people are going to attack you more now because you are more public than you've ever been. You are more opinionated than you've ever been. And you're going at people. Why is it okay for you to destroy an album like Revival, which I didn't like that album either? It's your right to be able to destroy it, right? Why can't M try to destroy you? And your platform. I'm confused. Like, stop doing that plea because now you're sounding weak. It's going back to that like Taxstone stuff I'm talking about. Like, how can you say that? That doesn't make sense. Stop saying that. You're sounding weaker. You're not sounding like more of an intelligent person. You're not sounding like more of a person who's cognizant or who's in touch with his feelings. You're sounding like somebody who's just doing pleas. That's it. Just copping hella. How much were those pleas, man? Are they doing a sale on pleas? Because you copped a grip of them. Oh, I retired. Therefore, rappers can't have an opinion about me from now on. It would make sense if you were retired and you were somewhere off. You're not you're a retired rapper, but you're not retired from rap. Okay? You're not. You're just not. You can't jump into it as a commentator who has negative opinions about people and then nobody can say anything back. Well, I don't know why you thought I would respond just because I talked about you. Just as you have the right to have the floor, he has the right to have the floor. And if you don't want to comment back, it's just going to look weird when you have other... That's all I'm saying. It's your prerogative. Do what you want to do. You don't have to do nothing you don't want to do, right? You don't have to do nothing. Don't attack. Don't say anything back. Whatever. All I'm saying is with every choice, there is a reaction, and you don't get to choose how those people are going to react. What I'm saying is someone who is like a very big diehard fan of your podcast, Rory Mall, Parks, of your rapping. You're one of the greatest lyricists, period. Like, who killed it? Oh my God, I used to... your broken wings for... Listen. So that's why it's just super disappointing. And I know you know what people are saying, and I know you're going to pretend like you don't. And I know you're going to cop that, I'm retired, please. And that's bad. But you have every right to go on your podcast. I hope you at least say your feel, like really don't go up there to cop no please. Really just let it go at least. That's still like corny to me. It's still like, because it's not that you're retired, bro. It's that you have the ability to defend yourself and you choose not to. What it would be like is you could be the most passive person in the world, right? You could be Gandhi, right? But actually you're not Gandhi, because what you are is a passive bully. And because when you have a negative opinion, even you've said it yourself on Everyday Struggle and stuff like that, like you tend to say things very negatively. You tend to call people trash. You tend to use intense words. I do that too. But I got to understand that with me using those intense words and knowing that artists are sensitive, and Joe Budden, you are one of, and I don't want to hear you talk about artists being sensitive. I mean, I guess you can because it's a fact, but you just acknowledge that you are the most sensitive artist that's probably, whether it comes to anybody Eminem dissed, Eminem and you are the most sensitive person of all of them. And that's why you made such great music, and mood music and stuff. That's why you made me, because you're sensitive. But I didn't mean for this to be that long. Let me know what you think about Joe's response. And let me know if you're going to be tuning into his podcast to see what he says, because I definitely will, man. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying this as a fan, Joe, like, because just don't ruin your content for me. And this is going to ruin it for me if I know that you don't defend yourself. Like, you're going to look, here's the problem. You're going to start looking way more like academics than you used to. That's all I'm saying. Someone who throws rocks and then hides his hand. Don't do that, please. Please. We love your content, Joe. You did 6 diss tracks about Drake. You did 6. You did. Eminem is arguably a bigger artist. So don't... Anyway, I'm done. Like, comment, subscribe. I got a new track coming, new remix off Revival, Screwed Up. My name is Scru. I'm pretty freaking awesome, but I wouldn't be anything without you. That's J Nation, and I love you.